to start making your mandala today, with your square paper, you're going to fold it in half. Do this carefully. Make sure that the lines match up. And then hold it still while you push down the other side. And just do the best that you can. Open it back up and you're going to fold it the other way, top to bottom. Make sure those edges line up, corners line up the best that you can. Hold it still and rub the crease down. Then open it up, and these are our two lines that are going to help us with drawing it today. You don't have to draw over the lines today. They're your invisible lines of symmetry that are going to help you design your mandala. We're going to use a bingo dauber. A lot of you have used them before, but if you haven't, or if you have forgotten, it has ink inside, which can be very messy. It has the sponge on the top. We never shake them and we never squeeze them because we don't want it to make a huge mess. And then you just use the sponge straight down on your paper, and you can begin to make your design. We're using shapes and lines, one in each space. Remember, we called them quadrants before. Whatever you put in this quadrant, you have to put in all of them in the same space and the same size. You can draw on the lines. You can draw in the spaces, and you can turn your paper to help you. So I'm gonna speed this up so you can see what it looks like in the end. Now that I have my design, as long as you didn't squeeze it and it didn't run out too fast, it should be drying pretty fast, but we might have to wait for it to dry until next art class and we can color it in. Notice how I made all of my black lines kind of connect to make these new shapes. That's because our next step is going to be to color it in. And I did make some things here completely black, and that's okay. But you want most of it to have nice big open white shapes so that you can color in. We're going to use Mr. Sketch markers, and I love that they come in some bright fun colors. They have the nice chisel tip, so you can make nice thick lines with your coloring. And Mr. Sketch markers have a lot of ink in them, so you don't want to color over the same spot over and over again, because guess what? It will make a hole in your paper. It will bleed through to the other side and rip your paper. So you want to go nice and slow, and I like to make one line at a time. You could outline your shape to help you, and then fill it in if you want. And if you need to get into a small space, you can turn it over and use that very tip to make it nice and skinny. You can make skinny lines with Mr. Sketch too. It's like having two markers in one. All right, so I'm gonna speed this up so you can see it all colored in the end. here's my finished mandala. You might notice that on some of the shapes, since they were so big, I decided to outline in one color and then fill in with a different color on the inside. And be careful when you're coloring to try not to color on top of each other, because when that happened here, it changed the color of the marker. And try not to color on top of the black, because you don't want it to smear by accident. Also with Mr. Sketch markers, since they have so much ink in them, don't color with your arm rubbing over your artwork, because it'll get all over you and it'll smear your artwork on the page. It's almost like a little bit of paint, like you have to let it dry, because Mr. Sketch markers leave the paper a little bit wet in the end. So have fun creating your own. I can't wait to see what they look like in the end.